In the deep caves of southern France, an experienced explorer named Eric Establie went missing. He was last seen exploring dangerous underground tunnels, despite warnings of their risks, including previous fatalities. What started as a quest for mapping the caves turned into a struggle for survival. Will Eric get out alive from the depths, or has he met a fate like those before him? Stay tuned as we uncover the mystery of Eric's disappearance. This is the true tragedy of Eric Establie. Eric Establie, an accomplished French diver, gained international attention after a brutal incident in which he was trapped by a silt avalanche inside the Ardèche Gorge near Marseille. Eric was born in France on September 30th, 1964. Ever since childhood, he dreamed of exploring the great outdoors. His love for discovery led him to become a professional cave diver and caver, a vocation that took him to remote corners of the world far from his loved ones. But unlike most cave explorers who are bachelors with no responsibilities, Eric was married and had 2 children. However, his love for adventure never faded. With an impressive experience of cave diving expeditions spanning countries like Mexico, Brazil, and Australia, Eric demonstrated an uncanny ability to navigate through intricate and formidable underground cave systems, often venturing into depths few had ever reached. Nevertheless, Eric's quest for the unknown was not without its share of hazards. He had narrowly escaped dangerous circumstances and confronted the risks of cave diving, contending with challenges such as underwater currents, limited visibility, and the constant need for a fresh supply of oxygen. But these challenges made him even more determined, motivating him to always push the limits and aim to achieve more. As a member of the caving club Sun Valin Dusi, Eric had earned a reputation for his level-headedness and ability to remain calm even in the face of extreme underwater challenges. But things were soon about to change, and ever since, Eric's life has never been the same. So, armed with his skills and expertise, on October 3, 2010, Eric embarked on a daring underground expedition near the source of the river Dragonnière in La Bastide de Virac. The cave he aimed to map was renowned for its mesmerizing underwater views, but equally notorious for its treacherous twists, tight spaces, and powerful currents. This mission proved to be a test of both skill and bravery. Hidden in the Ardèche region of France, Dragonnière Cave was a hidden gem, rarely visited by explorers. Its depths plunged some 180 feet below ground, home only to minuscule shrimp able to endure its harsh conditions. It was renowned as one of the most challenging dive sites, with its narrow tunnels and murky waters. Many divers shied away from its depths, fearing the very real possibility of becoming trapped in its uncharted recesses, where panic could easily take hold. But not Eric. Despite the dangers lurking within, Eric felt drawn to Dragonnière Cave by its technical complexities. The cave's silty conditions made visibility extremely poor. Stirring up too much silt could cause a blackout, leaving a diver blind and disoriented until the silt settles. In such tight passages, it was crucial to be cautious and avoid risky decisions like breathing air pockets, which could be dangerous. But Eric was determined to map out the unexplored parts of Dragonnière Cave. Filled with confidence and the slightest hint of fear, Eric descended into the cave, his headlamp cutting through the darkness as he ventured even deeper. However, his journey soon took a scary turn as murky waters clouded his vision, shrouding the path ahead. But this didn't stop the diver. Undeterred, Eric persisted in his determination to unveil the mysteries concealed within her labyrinthine depths. Navigating the cave's intricate network, Eric reached a depth of approximately 1,200 feet, safe and sound. But this is where things took an unexpected turn. At around 1,200 feet deep, he encountered an unexpected rockfall that abruptly blocked his passage, thereby trapping him. Faced with running out of air and a huge rock blocking his way, Eric realized he needed to act quickly. But what could he possibly do? He looked around, but every path he tried to take was blocked. His air was running low, and he couldn't find a way out. So he decided to leave some of his heavy equipment behind to help him move more easily through the tight spaces. This move also proved how clever Eric was. He left his equipment behind as a clue for rescuers, knowing they would recognize it and realize he was still alive and in need of help. But did he ever find help? As time passed, Eric remained stuck on the wrong side of the rock. People started getting worried about Eric's absence. They realized that something was wrong. On October 4th, British and Swiss rescue divers arrived at the scene, including Rick Stanton and John Vollenthen. It was a massive operation, with people working tirelessly day and night in the treacherous cave system. They utilized specialized tools like sonar and cameras to search underwater, while divers braved the tight passages, hoping for any sign of Eric. Above ground, rescuers explored the surrounding area, leaving no stone unturned, as they weren't sure where Eric was. Rick Stanton, alongside John Vollenthen, stood out as two of the world's most accomplished divers and among the finest in Europe. Their combined expertise had not only earned them widespread recognition as the foremost figures in British cave diving, but also a commendable history of successful rescue missions worldwide. They played a pivotal role in the dramatic rescue of 12 Thai boys and their coach from a flooded cave. But the story doesn't end there. Their bond with Eric Establie ran deep. Having crossed paths years ago in France, Eric had once helped John gain entry into another cave. So when the distress call came to rescue Eric, they didn't hesitate. Fueled by friendship and a sense of obligation, they sprang into action without delay. Armed with essentials like first aid kits, food supplies, and warmth provisions, they set off on their journey into the heart of the cave. They knew this mission would push their limits, testing their endurance and expertise. As they descended into the darkness around 3 p.m., they steeled themselves for the challenges awaiting them, ready to confront whatever obstacles lay ahead. But their progress was slowed down by the thick mud floating in the water, making it hard to see. Despite the tough conditions, they kept going, determined to reach their goal. At a depth of about 2,427 feet, they ran into a big problem: a rush of water that stirred up mud from the cave floor, making their mission even harder. Still, they didn't give up and kept going down, trying to navigate through the dangerous terrain until they found a small opening blocked by fallen rocks. However, their big gear stopped them from getting through the narrow space. Running low on air, they decided to go back, knowing they didn't have much time. Even though they didn't find their friend on their first try, they didn't lose hope. They learned from the challenges they faced and got ready to come up with a new plan to save their friend stuck deep inside the cave. They needed to come up with a new plan before attempting another rescue, as removing the rocks blocking the cave didn't seem possible. Meanwhile, the following morning, a team started digging a vertical shaft with heavy machines to reach the upstream part of the cave. At the same time, another group explored a nearby cave that might connect to the Dragonnier cave system. The Swiss diving team tried another rescue as soon as the sediment in the cave began to clear. They reached the ROCKFALL without any problems, but couldn't find a way through after hours of searching. They had to go back for more supplies. A big backhoe dug a trench to access a fissure where cavers were trying to connect to the Dragonnier cave. They pinpointed the spot where Eric might be waiting for air. But Rick and John, along with expert divers Pedro and Luigi, came up with a new plan. They would use slimmer gear to fit through a narrow gap in the rockfall. Returning to where Eric's scooter was found, they discovered he had tried to crawl through the rocks. With this new information, they went back to the cave entrance to resupply for a third dive. After resting and gearing up, they returned to the obstruction and pushed through the rockfall, hoping to find Eric on the other side. They finally managed to squeeze through the gap near the top of the rockfall in the cave ceiling. It was a risky move. Hitting the ceiling could have caused a silt blackout, leaving them blind. Fortunately, they made it through without incident, but there was no sign of Eric on the other side. Undeterred, they swam another 600 feet into the unexplored part of the cave, taking a huge risk in their search for Eric. Rick and John's experience and mental toughness kept them going deep into the cave, fueled by the hope that they would find their friend alive. In the middle of a long passage with clear visibility, they spotted Eric lying 15 feet beneath them. It was astonishing to see how deep Eric had ventured into the cave. He had been trying to find an airspace, but had run out of air before he could do so. After 10 days of searching, they found Eric's body deep within the cave. Retrieving his body proved to be a punishing task, but they were determined to bring him back. However, as they tried to move Eric's body through the narrow gap in the rock fall, it became stuck. The divers tried their best to pull him out, but they couldn't risk getting trapped themselves, so they reluctantly left his body behind. Their next priority was recovering the diving computer on Eric's wrist. Once they had it, they made their way back through the cave, facing the challenge of making it out safely with their dwindling air supply. Fortunately, they encountered no further issues and reached the cave entrance safely. The dive computer provided crucial information about Eric's final moments, revealing that he had drowned on the first day of his ordeal. Despite weeks of effort, the speleologists were unable to extract Eric's body from the cave. Regrettably, they had to halt the search, and the authorities extended their condolences to Eric's family. The search officially concluded on January 8, 2011, with Eric's body stuck inside forever.